Have you ever wondered who will truly be by your side in the final years of your life? Many people assume it will be their spouse, children, or lifelong friends, but reality often tells a different story. As time passes, relationships evolve, children grow up and build their own lives, friends may drift apart, and even a loving spouse may not always be there due to circumstances beyond our control. In the end, the one person who will accompany you until the very last moment is you. This might be a difficult truth to accept, but the sooner you embrace it, the more fulfilling your later years can be. Many people spend their lives prioritizing others, meeting expectations, fulfilling obligations, and caring for loved ones, while neglecting their own well-being and inner peace. But what if we shifted our focus? What if instead of fearing solitude, we saw it as an opportunity for self-discovery and personal growth? Today, we'll explore the reasons why our relationships change as we age and how we can cultivate a deep, lasting companionship with ourselves. Learning to enjoy your own company, finding joy in solitude, and nurturing self-love are essential skills for a truly content and peaceful life. Stick with me, because this conversation might change the way you view the rest of your life. Before we dive in, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you wish you had done more for yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more insights on living your golden years with purpose and joy. Number 1, why your spouse won't always be there. For those who have been married for decades, it's hard to imagine life without a partner. Your spouse has been your companion, your confidant, and the person you've shared countless memories with. They have been there through the joys and hardships, the mundane and the extraordinary, the laughter and the tears. Marriage is a profound bond, one that weaves two lives together so seamlessly that it can feel impossible to imagine life apart. But as we all know, life is unpredictable. One partner often leaves before the other, and the one left behind faces a reality they may not have prepared for. This is not an easy topic to discuss, but it is an essential one. It's not about being pessimistic or dwelling on loss, but rather about fostering a life that is fulfilling beyond the relationship. By developing emotional resilience, independence, and a sense of self outside of marriage, you can ensure that, even in the absence of your partner, your life remains meaningful. The story of Margaret, lost without a partner. Margaret was married for 52 years. She and her husband did everything together: grocery shopping, morning walks, even doctor visits. They had built a life so intertwined that they rarely spent time apart. Their routine was predictable but comforting. They supported each other in every way, and Margaret found immense joy in her role as a wife and caretaker. But when her husband passed away, Margaret found herself lost. She had no hobbies of her own, no close friends outside of their social circle, and no idea how to spend her days. She was consumed by grief and loneliness, feeling as if she had lost not only her partner, but also her identity. She once told me, "I spent my entire life being a wife. Now that he's gone, I don't know who I am." Her story isn't uncommon. Many people pour so much of themselves into their marriage that they forget to cultivate their own identity. This is why it is crucial to build a life that is fulfilling beyond the relationship, not only for personal growth, but also for the sake of resilience when faced with the inevitable challenges of life. While marriage is about partnership and togetherness, it should never come at the cost of personal identity. Being a dedicated spouse does not mean losing sight of who you are as an individual. Independence within a marriage allows for personal growth. When you continue to develop your own interests and passions, you bring new energy into the marriage. Stronger relationships. Having friendships and social connections outside of your marriage strengthens your support system. Emotional resilience. By maintaining a life outside of the marriage, you are better equipped to cope with loss if it occurs. A sense of purpose. Engaging in activities that bring personal fulfillment ensures that your identity remains intact, regardless of marital status. Practical steps to stay independent, even in marriage. 1. Invest in personal hobbies. Having a hobby or interest that is uniquely yours gives you something to look forward to, helps reduce stress, and keeps your mind engaged, Whether it's painting, gardening, writing, learning a musical instrument, or even traveling solo, personal hobbies add depth and richness to life. 2. Foster friendships outside of your marriage. Relying solely on your spouse for social interactions can be limiting. Friendships play a crucial role in emotional well-being. Join a club, attend community events, reconnect with old friends, or even make new ones by participating in group activities that interest you. 3. Strengthen your sense of self. Self-reflection is key to maintaining individuality. Writing in a journal, practicing meditation, or simply spending time alone in nature can help you stay connected with yourself. Knowing who you are beyond your role as a spouse ensures that your identity remains strong. 4. Brace lifelong learning. Pursuing knowledge and self-improvement helps keep life interesting. Enroll in a course, read new books, or explore topics that have always intrigued you. Lifelong learning not only provides intellectual stimulation, but also enhances confidence and adaptability. 5. Practice self-care. Taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally is crucial. Exercise, eat well, and prioritize activities that nourish your soul. Being healthy and content within yourself contributes to a more fulfilling life, regardless of your marital status. 6. Plan for the future. While no one likes to think about loss, having a plan in place can provide peace of mind. Ensure that you have financial security, legal affairs in order, and a clear idea of what your life might look like should you find yourself alone. This preparation can ease the transition and help you feel more in control. Many people fear being alone, but solitude does not have to equate to loneliness. Learning to enjoy your own company is a valuable skill. Engage in activities that bring you joy, travel to places you've always wanted to visit, and embrace the opportunity to deepen your self-understanding. For those who struggle with this, therapy or support groups can be immensely helpful. Speaking with others who have gone through similar experiences can provide comfort, guidance, and reassurance that life after loss can still be fulfilling. If your spouse were gone tomorrow, would you still find joy in your daily life? This is a difficult question, but an important one. If your answer is no, now is the time to build that foundation. Your marriage is a beautiful part of your life, but it should not be the entirety of your existence. By nurturing independence, strengthening relationships outside of marriage, and investing in personal growth, you can ensure that your life remains meaningful, no matter what the future holds. Marriage is a partnership, but it should not mean the loss of individuality. Loving someone deeply does not require losing yourself in the process. By fostering a sense of self, building a strong support network, and preparing for the uncertainties of life, you can create a life that is not only deeply connected to your spouse, but also fulfilling in its own right. For those who are married, remember that being strong and independent does not take away from your relationship, it strengthens it. And for those who have already lost a spouse, know that your life still holds meaning, purpose, and the capacity for joy. It is never too late to rediscover yourself and build a life that is truly yours. Take small steps today. Find something that excites you, make a new friend, or simply spend a few moments reflecting on who you are outside of your marriage. Because in the end, the greatest gift you can give yourself and your loved ones is a life well lived with or without a partner by your side. Number 2, your children have their own lives. Many parents hold the belief that their children will always be there for them in old age. While it is true that love exists between parents and children, the reality is often more complex. As children grow into adulthood, they develop careers, start families, and assume responsibilities that consume their time and attention. This is not an act of neglect, but a natural progression of life. Linda was a devoted mother who spent her entire life raising her 3 children. She made countless sacrifices to ensure their happiness and success, often putting her own dreams aside. She took pride in their achievements, feeling that her efforts had been worthwhile. However, as they grew up and moved on with their lives, Linda found herself increasingly alone. Her eldest daughter moved across the country for a career opportunity. Her middle son was busy raising his own family, and her youngest child was consumed by work commitments. Linda assumed they would still make time for her, expecting frequent calls and visits. but days turned into weeks and weeks into months with only sporadic communication. She often found herself sitting by the phone, waiting for a call that rarely came. "I don't blame them," Linda confessed one evening, "but I never thought I'd feel so forgotten." She struggled with loneliness, reminiscing about the days when her home was filled with laughter and chaos. She felt as if she had dedicated her life to them, only to be left behind. But over time, Linda realized she had to shift her mindset to find peace and fulfillment in her later years. Instead of relying solely on children for companionship and emotional support, aging parents can take proactive steps to ensure their own happiness and well-being. 1. Let go of expectations. Parents often have deep-seated expectations regarding their children's involvement in their lives. However, it is important to understand that their physical absence is not a reflection of their love. When children grow up, they are simply navigating their own responsibilities, just as their parents did when they were younger. Holding on to rigid expectations can lead to disappointment and resentment. Instead, parents should embrace the reality that their children's lives are busy and that their love is expressed in different ways. Occasional visits, phone calls, or even messages should be cherished rather than measured against past expectations. 2. Create your own happiness. Happiness should not be dependent on external factors, including children. Instead, parents should cultivate a life that brings them joy, independent of their children's presence. Pursue hobbies. Whether it's painting, gardening, reading, or playing music, engaging in hobbies can provide a sense of fulfillment. Stay socially active. Building a community of friends can help combat loneliness. Joining clubs, attending social events, or participating in local groups can create new bonds. Volunteer. Giving back to society can bring immense satisfaction. Volunteering at charities, community centres, or mentorship programs can create purpose in everyday life. Travel and explore. With fewer responsibilities, parents can use their time to travel, explore new places, and experience the world in ways they couldn't before. 3. Cherish the time you do get. Instead of focusing on how often children visit or call, parents should focus on making every interaction meaningful. Quality matters more than quantity. When children do reach out, it's important to appreciate the moment rather than lament the time apart. Be present. Enjoy the moments spent together rather than dwelling on past grievances. Express love without guilt. Avoid making children feel guilty for not visiting more often. Instead, express joy and appreciation when they do. Celebrate their independence. Recognizing that children have built lives of their own is a testament to successful parenting. One of the most valuable lessons in aging is learning to enjoy one's own company. Solitude does not have to be synonymous with loneliness. It can be a time for reflection, self-discovery, and personal growth. Develop a routine. Having a daily routine creates structure and purpose. Stay physically active. Exercise, yoga, or even daily walks can improve both physical and mental health. Engage in lifelong learning. Taking classes, learning a new language, or developing new skills keeps the mind sharp and engaged. Parents who feel isolated can take steps to build new relationships. There are many opportunities to form meaningful connections outside of family. Senior communities. Many communities have programs specifically designed for older adults to socialize and engage in activities. Faith-based groups. Religious organizations often provide social support networks for members. Online communities. Virtual connections can be just as meaningful, with many online groups catering to specific interests and demographics. As parents age, shifting perspectives can lead to emotional well-being. Rather than seeing children's independence as abandonment, it can be viewed as the natural cycle of life. Parents raise their children to be self-sufficient, and their ability to thrive independently is a reflection of successful parenting. Aging should be embraced with a sense of dignity and grace. Instead of clinging to the past, parents can focus on creating new memories, forging new relationships, and discovering newfound joys. Your children love you, but they cannot be your sole source of happiness. Their love is present, even when they are not physically there. By fostering independence, seeking personal fulfillment, and embracing the life you have now, you can find deep and lasting contentment in your later years. The journey of parenthood doesn't end when children leave the nest. It simply transforms into a new chapter. A chapter filled with self-discovery, new experiences, and the realization that happiness is an internal choice, not something dependent on external factors. Embrace this phase of life with open arms, and it will be filled with richness, wisdom, and joy. Number 3, friendships fade over time. Friendships are among life's greatest joys. They provide companionship, emotional support, and a sense of belonging. However, as we age, friendships inevitably change. Some friends move away in pursuit of new opportunities, others become engrossed in their families, and sadly, some pass away. The reality of friendships fading over time can be difficult to accept, but understanding this process can help us navigate it with grace and resilience. Throughout different stages of life, our priorities shift. When we are young, friendships often revolve around school, hobbies, and shared experiences. As we grow older, responsibilities such as careers, marriage, and parenthood begin to take precedence. These life transitions can create distance between even the closest of friends. For example, in early adulthood, friendships may thrive on spontaneity and frequent meetups. However, as people enter their 30s and 40s, they often juggle demanding careers and family obligations. This shift can lead to less time for social interactions. By the time we reach our 50s and beyond, retirement, health challenges, and even relocation may further impact our social circles. Understanding that friendships evolve does not mean accepting isolation. Instead, it encourages us to cherish the connections we have while also making efforts to cultivate new relationships. Barbara and I were inseparable for over 30 years. We met in our late 20s, bonded over our love of travel and literature, and shared countless memories. Whether it was hiking in the mountains, exploring new cities, or simply enjoying a cup of tea while discussing life's mysteries, our friendship was a source of joy and stability. We often spoke about growing old together, picturing ourselves as two elderly women sitting on a park bench, reminiscing about our adventures. But life had different plans. One day, Barbara called me with devastating news. She had been diagnosed with an aggressive illness. It was sudden and unexpected. The months that followed were filled with hospital visits, late-night phone calls, and quiet moments of reflection. We laughed about old times, cried about the uncertainty of the future, and held on to each other's presence as long as we could. And then, just like that, she was gone. One moment, we were planning another trip, and the next, I was attending her funeral, grappling with the immense void she left behind. Losing a dear friend is one of the hardest parts of aging. It serves as a stark reminder of the impermanence of life. However, Barbara's passing also taught me an invaluable lesson: the importance of cherishing the time we have with the people we love. When friendships fade, whether due to distance, changing life circumstances, or loss, it can be challenging to adapt. Here are some ways to navigate these changes and maintain meaningful social connections. 1. Make an effort to keep in touch. One of the biggest reasons friendships fade is because both parties assume the other will reach out. Instead of waiting for a call, take the initiative. Schedule regular check-ins, whether through phone calls, video chats, or in-person visits. A simple thinking of you message can go a long way in keeping the connection alive. 2. Accept the evolution of friendships. Not all friendships will remain the same, and that's okay. Some relationships serve a purpose for a particular season of life. Instead of mourning what was, focus on the present. Appreciate the good memories and allow friendships to evolve naturally. 3. Meet new people. Building new relationships can be intimidating, especially later in life. However, opportunities to connect are abundant. Consider joining a book club to share literary discussions, a fitness class to stay active while meeting like-minded individuals, a local community centre that hosts social events and volunteer opportunities. Expanding your social circle can help combat loneliness and bring fresh perspectives into your life. 4. Develop a fulfilling solo life. Friendships are important, but the most enduring relationship is the one you have with yourself. Learning to enjoy your own company can make moments of solitude feel fulfilling rather than lonely. Some activities to explore include journaling. Writing about your thoughts and experiences can provide clarity and a sense of inner peace. Solo travel, exploring new places on your own, can be a transformative and empowering experience. Creative pursuits, engaging in hobbies like painting, gardening, or playing an instrument can bring joy and fulfillment. By cultivating a rich solo life, you ensure that your happiness does not solely depend on external relationships. As friendships fade, it is natural to feel a sense of loss. However, this does not mean the end of meaningful connections. Life is a continuous journey of meeting, parting, and reuniting with people. Each friendship, whether short-lived or lifelong, leaves an imprint on our hearts. Instead of dwelling on what has been lost, embrace what remains. Be open to forming new connections, reconnecting with old acquaintances, and most importantly, deepening the relationship you have with yourself. Barbara's friendship was a gift that I will always treasure. Her presence may no longer be physical, but the lessons she imparted and the love she shared continue to live within me. As we journey through life, friendships will come and go, but one thing remains constant: the love and wisdom we carry forward. By nurturing our relationships, embracing change, and finding joy in our own company, we can navigate the inevitable fading of friendships with grace and resilience. Number 4, learning to be your own best companion. If you are the one person who will be with yourself until the very end, isn't it worth investing in that relationship? This question holds profound significance in a world where external relationships often take precedence. We invest time and energy into friendships, romantic relationships, and professional networks, yet many of us neglect the most foundational relationship of all, the one we have with ourselves. Cultivating self-companionship is not about isolating oneself or rejecting human connection. Rather, it is about creating a solid foundation of self-trust, self-awareness, and self-love, so that no matter what happens in life, we are always in good company. Self-companionship means developing a deep, meaningful relationship with yourself. It involves treating yourself with the same kindness, patience, and encouragement that you would offer a close friend. This practice allows you to feel whole and content within yourself, rather than seeking validation, happiness, or fulfillment from external sources. Many people fear solitude because they associate it with loneliness. However, solitude, when embraced, becomes a powerful space for growth, reflection, and deep personal connection. The difference between solitude and loneliness lies in perception. Loneliness is the pain of being alone, whereas solitude is the joy of being with yourself. By shifting your perspective, you can turn alone time into an enriching and nourishing experience. Simple ways to cultivate self-companionship. 1. Spend quality time alone. Just as we schedule time to see friends or loved ones, we should also schedule quality time with ourselves. Engaging in solo activities can help strengthen our connection with ourselves and foster independence. Take yourself on a date. Visit a cafe, enjoy a meal at a restaurant, or watch a movie alone. Doing these things by yourself allows you to enjoy your own company and removes the societal stigma around being alone in public. Go for a walk in nature. Walking alone provides an opportunity to clear your mind, reflect, and appreciate the beauty of the world around you. Travel solo. Traveling alone can be an incredibly empowering experience. It allows you to explore new places on your own terms and make decisions based solely on your desires. Number 2, discover what makes you happy. A crucial aspect of self-companionship is knowing what brings you joy and fulfillment. Many people live their lives trying to please others, without taking the time to understand what genuinely excites and nourishes them. Experiment with new hobbies. Try painting, writing, playing a musical instrument, cooking, or any activity that sparks your interest. You might discover passions you never knew existed. Listen to your body and mind. Pay attention to activities that make you feel energized and those that drain you. Prioritize what nurtures your well-being. Create a list of personal joys. Write down simple things that make you happy, whether it's reading a book, taking a bath, or listening to your favorite music. Incorporate these into your daily life. 3. Practice self-kindness and self-compassion. How do you speak to yourself? Many people have an inner dialogue filled with criticism and self-doubt. If we wouldn't talk to a loved one in such a harsh way, why do we do it to ourselves? Reframe negative self-talk. When you catch yourself being self-critical, replace those thoughts with compassionate and encouraging words. Practice self-acceptance. Embrace your flaws, mistakes, and imperfections. They are part of what makes you human. Write yourself a letter. Imagine you are writing to a dear friend who is struggling. Offer words of encouragement, reassurance, and kindness. Then read it back to yourself. 4. Develop emotional independence. While relationships with others are important, true inner peace comes from not depending on others for your happiness. Learn to self-soothe. When feeling down, engage in activities that bring you comfort, such as journaling, meditating, or practicing deep breathing. Set personal boundaries. Protect your energy by recognizing when to say no and when to take time for yourself. Celebrate your own achievements. Acknowledge your successes, big or small, instead of relying on external validation. 5. Build a mindfulness practice. Being present with yourself allows you to cultivate inner peace and awareness. Mindfulness helps you appreciate solitude and deepens your connection with your thoughts and emotions. Meditate regularly. Even a few minutes of daily meditation can help you feel more grounded and connected with yourself. Practice gratitude. Reflect on what you appreciate about yourself and your life. Engage in deep breathing exercises. Focusing on your breath can help calm the mind and bring you back to the present moment. If the thought of being alone makes you anxious, ask yourself, why? Often, the discomfort stems from underlying fears, such as fear of boredom, fear of confronting our emotions, or fear of not being enough without external validation. By addressing these fears, we can begin to embrace solitude rather than dread it. Shift your mindset. Instead of viewing alone time as a punishment, see it as an opportunity to connect with yourself. Start small. If extended periods of solitude feel overwhelming, start with short moments of alone time and gradually build up. Seek support when needed. While self-companionship is valuable, it's also okay to seek help from a therapist or trusted friend if you struggle with loneliness or emotional wounds. Developing a fulfilling relationship with yourself is a lifelong process. As you grow and evolve, your needs and desires will change, and that's okay. The key is to remain committed to being your own best friend through all of life's ups and downs. By embracing solitude, discovering what brings you joy, and treating yourself with kindness, you cultivate a sense of wholeness that no external source can provide. You become your own safe haven, a constant source of love and support. And when you learn to enjoy your own company, you'll find that your relationships with others become even more enriching because they come from a place of fullness, not need. In the end, the most beautiful journey you can embark on is the one within yourself. So take yourself by the hand, walk with love and patience, and cherish the gift of your own companionship. At the end of the day, the only person who will be with you through every joy, every sorrow, and every moment is you. That's not something to fear, it's something to embrace. Learning to be comfortable with yourself is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone because your existence alone is enough. You are worthy of love, happiness, and fulfillment, not because of what you achieve or how others perceive you, but simply because you are. Society often teaches us to seek validation from external sources, whether it's success, relationships, or social approval. But true peace comes when you realize that everything you need is already within you. So take yourself on new adventures, nurture your passions, and treat yourself with love and respect. Spend time doing what brings you joy, whether it's reading a book, taking a walk in nature, or simply sitting in silence and appreciating the present moment. Because when you learn to enjoy your own company, you will never truly be alone. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you do for yourself that brings you joy? Let me know in the comments. If this message spoke to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, remember, you are your greatest companion, and you are enough, just as you are.